Hello, I'm Beck. Welcome to my channel. Today I'll be drawing a D&D character based on the roll of the dice. Let's bring out the Tower of Destiny! We have a Kobold Sorcerer. So what is a Kobold? Now, they're very similar drawing-wise to a Dragonborn in that they look like kind of humanoid lizards. They don't have any wings, but they are very small. The guidebook actually describes them as one of the smallest draconic creatures there is, with rust-colored scales. So I wanted to stick to that, and it's kind of hard to do scale, but I'm imagining it is kind of like if a Dragonborn is like the size of a very large human, maybe, you would have a Kobold be about the size of a halfling. If you're reading about Kobolds as a monster type, it says that they are craven reptilian humanoids that commonly infest dungeons. It says that they worship evil dragons and serve them as minions, and often set traps in a dragon's lair to catch unsuspecting adventurers and steal their treasure and their life. However, the Kobold description for a playable race is a little bit more lenient and says that some Kobolds worship dragons, while others help adventurers to fight against a dragon's destruction. And a Kobold's cry can express a range of emotion that has a powerful effect on its adversaries. And that connects to one of the Kobold traits, the mechanical traits, called Draconic Cry, where as a bonus action, you let out a cry at your enemies within 10 feet of you. Until the start of your next turn, you and your allies have advantage on attack rolls against any of those enemies, provided they can hear you. You can use this trait a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Other Kobold traits include your creature type, which is humanoid, your size, which is small, your walking speed, which is 30 feet, you have dark vision, and you have something called Kobold Legacy, which is basically described as your connection to your dragon lineage manifesting in one of three ways. So you can either choose your Kobold Legacy to be craftiness, where you have proficiency in one of the following skills of your choice. That choice is Arcana, Investigation, Medicine, Sleight of Hand, or Survival. Or you could choose Defiance as your Kobold Legacy, where you have advantage on saving throws to avoid or end the frightened condition on yourself. Or you can choose Draconic Sorcery, one cantrip of your choice from the Sorcerer spell list. Now, because our Kobold is already a sorcerer, I thought that it might be good to have her choose Defiance so that she's not frightened very easily. As a sorcerer, this character, who I'm going to name Vixen, has magic just in her blood. She doesn't need to study it from a spell book. Sorcerers just have the ability within them to do magic, and their challenge is to try and channel it effectively and control it. Now, when you choose Sorcerer as your class, you will also need to choose your Sorceress Origin, which basically means different sorcerers have different origin for their innate magic. So you might have it from an ancestral bloodline thing. You might have been blessed by some sort of magical creature or cursed. There are a few different options. Probably the most standard one is the one that we're going with today, which is to have it be in your bloodline. And The sorcerer's origin for Vixen is draconic bloodline, which shouldn't surprise anyone. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have a dragon in your bloodline, although it can. And in this case, I think that it does. Another option for having draconic bloodline is that someone in your ancestry has made a deal with a dragon, and the magic that created has affected your family ever since. But as I say, a kobold, she looks very dragony, so it makes a lot more sense to me that she would have a straight up dragon somewhere in her bloodline. Not necessarily as her mum or dad or anything, but definitely near enough. Like maybe she has a grandparent who is a dragon. And dragons can take the form of humans if they choose to, so it's not as gross as you might imagine. Especially if she's got a lineage that is part dragon born, or part dragon, part kobold. Obviously, it can be a few things, but her sorcerer ability comes from a dragon, and there are various kinds of dragon in the D&D universe. The types of damage that they incur are related to the color. So, for example, you could have a black dragon do acid damage, a blue dragon does lightning damage, a brass dragon does fire damage, a bronze dragon also does lightning damage, a copper dragon does acid damage, a gold dragon does fire damage, a green dragon does poison damage, a red dragon does fire damage, a silver dragon and a white dragon both do cold damage. So I literally just read a full table out. You can find it in guidebooks and online. It's fun to imagine the different kinds of dragon, because, you know, your typical one is red, the fire dragon, and I think that's the one we'll go with today, given that kobolds are described as having rust-colored scales. So I'm making her red, which would make sense if she has a red dragon in her bloodline. You can also see that I'm giving her some pink frilly vibes. I wanted her to be a little bit fun and feminine. I do a lot of intense warrior types, and sorcery kind of lends itself to being whatever kind of person you feel like you want to be. And I was a little bit inspired because this video is going to be posted on Valentine's Day. Or at least Valentine's Day where I am. If you're watching this as soon as it comes out and you live in America, it will probably be the day before Valentine's Day, because that is how time zones work. But probably you're watching this well after it's been posted, and it could be any day of the year. So love is great all the time, and happy Valentine's Day if you're watching this when it comes out. Anyway, let's have a look at her abilities. She is small but mighty with the +2 to strength. I don't really know what she would have done growing up to earn +2 to strength, because I think she is still quite young, but I would assume things like running and climbing trees and just doing she's a very outdoorsy kid. I think that's probably where her strength has come from. And I think she's also very helpful around the house and with her family, so if furniture needs to be moved, or if she needs to help carry heavy groceries or things like that, she's always willing to help. With her -1 to dexterity, I don't think she's very good at being subtle, or she's never had to pick locks, I don't think. I suspect she lives in one of the kind of households where they don't really lock their doors. They don't really see the need to. I think her parents are both sorcerers as well, and with a grandparent who's a dragon, they they have pretty good ability to defend themselves without locks if they need to, but just among their family, they're very close and don't feel the need to hide things away. So she's never had to develop the sneakiness that comes with the high dexterity. With her +1 constitution, I think she's a bit of an adventurous eater and probably developed a strong constitution that way. I think she has a lot of maybe younger little brothers and sisters who are constantly getting sick, so she's also improved her constitution by just like building immunities to things. We've got a +0 intelligence, which means she's just average intelligence wise. I don't know if she spends that much time reading textbooks. I think she might read a lot of sort of fantasy fictional stories and spends a lot of time daydreaming, but she doesn't necessarily have the best memory for things. I suspect her parents have to ask her more than once to do certain things, not because she doesn't want to do them, but because they kind of just slip her mind. With wisdom, she's got the +1, so she can read people pretty well, but she also hasn't been out in the world, so she's not infallible. She could use a little bit more wisdom, which is only gained through experience, but she's got a good head on her shoulders, so she's got that +1. And +2 to charisma, she's a charismatic character. She loves making friends and meeting people, and she's got the romantic soul in her where she probably would join an adventuring party with the hopes of exploring the world and looking for her true love. That could even be a good call to adventure. She wants to meet as many people as she can so that she can fall in love and run away together. That could also make for a really fun character arc as well, because it's one thing when you're playing as a D&D character where they have this dark history and they're really intense and everything's awful and they're just gonna fight until they die. But then you've got these characters who are just happy and just want to see the world, and then they get into all these battles and fights where they have to kill people and creatures and any number of things, and hopefully not die themselves, but certainly come close sometimes, where she might leave home with the view of only being an adventurer until she finds her one true love, and somewhere along the way she gets a little bit hardened, but she learns that her love is for adventure itself, and maybe her soulmate isn't really a mate so much as just realizing that anything she's looking for in a partner, she can just be that. She can just create, like, if you're looking for someone who's strong, you can become strong. If you're looking for someone who's rich, you can become rich. If you're looking for someone who's kind and caring, you can be kind and caring. And people say that attracts, like attracts like, so maybe she will meet someone and fall in love with them, but realize that that's not everything in the world. It's just nice to have, really. Having companionship doesn't make or break your entire life. It just makes your life much more enjoyable. So I don't know if that's bleak or if that's a good thing to have. Messaging around Valentine's Day. Companionship. It's great, but it's not everything. I guess it's a healthy way to look at relationships, because if you put your entire happiness on someone else and you require them to validate your own existence, that's not love. And it's so much pressure on the other person that the relationship's not going to last. So that's my dating advice. This is now a dating advice show. You're welcome. Please send me a comment if you would like me to give you some dating advice. I cannot guarantee that it will be any good or help you in any way, but I hope you have a very happy Valentine's Day, even if it's just indulging in yourself And thank you for watching. I hope you liked this video, and if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe. It will really make my day. And have a great week. I'll catch you next time.